Okay, it's 8 o'clock. And welcome everybody, and welcome to anybody who tunes in on the recording. You're very welcome as well. This morning I wanted to just talk a bit about being grounded. We're going to do the self-care meditation as we usually do on a Wednesday morning. And obviously one of the reasons for that is it just makes us feel better. If we can love ourselves, care for ourselves, accept ourselves as we are, it just has a big effect on our lives, on our own happiness and the happiness of those around us. But it also goes deeper than that, I think. It helps to ground us. It helps to make us strong and robust psychologically. And we need that in today's world. I was just thinking about the awful explosion in Beirut and everything else that's going on in the world, and global warming and just all these things that are very oppressive or can really bring us down in the world. And if we are really integrated in ourselves, if we accept ourselves as we are, and somehow we're not we're in conflict with ourselves, because that's what happens, isn't it? We are in conflict with ourselves, where we spend a lot of time not liking ourselves, thinking we're not good enough, thinking that we're brilliant as well, thinking that we're geniuses sometimes, maybe, or getting depressed or getting ecstatic, and we're constantly sort of zooming off in all different directions. And that means that it's much harder for us to be robust in the world, because we spend so much time dealing with our own conflicts and difficulties. So this self-care is really important. If we can be really grounded, if we can be really accepting of ourselves, then it makes it a lot easier for us to accept just the way things are in the world. And, you know, we can't do anything about the awful things that happen, most of them. And we can feel a bit helpless because of that. But we can do something about how we are. And we can do something about how we engage with the people around us. And the more integrated that we are, the more grounded, the more robust in ourselves that we are, the more we can affect the world around us in a very, very positive way. And ultimately we can start to change the way the world is. I mean, there will still be disasters like Beirut. There always will be, but we can deal with them in a very robust way. And that's not being selfish. That is just making ourselves an effective being in the world, somebody who can actually make the way through the world in a positive way and help others. So that's enough of that. But I do think it's important. So this meditation, it's a kind of metta bhavana, a traditional loving kindness meditation, but I've altered it so that it's about us in a good way, and about just seeing the different parts of ourselves and just learning to bring them together, learning to love them all, good and bad, comfortable, uncomfortable, things we can change, things we can't change. So let's just take a deep breath or two and just relax. And we're just going to set up to begin with, just arrive in the meditation. So we don't really need to do much to do this. We just need to relax as much as we can. Just allowing our body to just let go. And to just notice a few things. You can notice the weight of our body on the stool or the chair or the cushion or the bed. If we're lying down, we might notice the weight of the whole of our back of our body on the bed or the floor. And just giving that up, just letting go of that weight, allowing whatever was sitting or lying on to hold us. Can notice our bodies. Maybe we're holding parts of our bodies in quite a tight, rigid way. Maybe our shoulders, our necks. We often flex our necks. Just letting your head balance nicely on your shoulders. Just breathing into any tightness, allowing it to soften. Noticing the face area, your forehead particularly, just letting any frown drop out. The whole of your face as well, just allowing the whole of your face to sag. Forehead and face. Maybe we need to keep doing this because it's just an automatic, with me anyway, it's automatic that we go back into this tightness. So really allowing the face to relax, to sag, to let go. And coming down to the upper chest, rising and falling of the shoulders. Moving down the chest, taking in the whole of the rib cage. Expanding and contracting as we breathe. And behind the rib cage in the center towards the bottom, just contacting our heart center, our chitta. This is the place where all our positive emotions live. And the more we can open up this heart center, the more we can free it, the kinder and more loving we will be to ourselves and the whole world. So you might bring to mind somebody that you love, person or an animal. Just imagining them in any way that you wish, or you can. And just seeing what happens in the heart center, in the chitta. You might get a sense of warmth here. Could be somewhere else in the body, but often it's in the heart center. Just a warmth as you think of this person that you really love. And this, in a sense, is loving kindness. So if you can't feel it, just don't worry, just stay open to actually finding it in some way, not trying too hard. Just keep thinking of somebody you love. And if you can feel it, this warmth, this sense of benevolence, just allowing it to grow, just opening your heart a little bit more all the time, allowing the sense of warmth to grow and spread through the body. And then in the first stage of this meditation, we're just going to reflect on the whole of ourselves. Very complex human beings. And we all have these bits that we don't like about ourselves and the bits that we do like. And some of them we can't change. Some of them we're stuck with. But we have an opinion on them. We have a judgment about them, that they're not how they should be. And when we do this, we create conflict and pain for ourselves in our lives. And besides which, it's not true. There may be bits of ourselves that we can't change, that we don't like. But that's just an opinion. That's just our mind, our fearful mind, worrying about acceptance from others and fitting in. We are as we are, so can we love ourselves as we are, with all our unchangeable imperfections as we see them? Can we love those imperfections? Can we see them as unique and special? They're what make up this person we call me. And in a way, they're just beautiful. So when we begin to feel dissatisfied with certain aspects of ourselves that we can't change, can we just remember that? Remember that they're okay. We are perfectly imperfect. We're very precious, just as we are. And then there are the bits about ourselves that we can change. Maybe the way we act sometimes, the way we react, the way we're blown around by the things that happen to us. And these are really painful too. And we know that these can change. They're mostly habits. They're mostly things that we've learnt to do in our past life. And we know that we can change them. But can we also recognize that we can't just change them? We can't just suddenly flick a switch and be different. And for now, these things are who we are. And actually, being dissatisfied with the things we can change makes them harder to change in a strange, mysterious way. If we can just see them and accept them as they are for now, then they will begin to drop away. But if we get into conflict with them, it makes it more difficult. So can we have a positive sense of where we are and the things that we can change? Can we be loving and kind towards them? Can we recognize them, but have a sense of care towards them? So, looking at these things that we want to change, looking at the things that we can't change and trying to accept them, is not easy. And we need help. And we can be our own massive help in this. If we can be our own best friend. There is part of us, part of all of us, that can do that. That can be there for us when times are hard. That can be with us when we're embarrassed or upset. That can be a companion and a comfort. That can be our own best friend. Our own wise friend that sees that there are some things that we can't change that are okay, and there are some things that we can change that will just take time. And in the meantime, knowing that we're fine as we are, perfect in our imperfection. So can we find our inner best friend and allow this best friend to look after ourselves? And in the third stage, we're going to dig a little deeper and Find that part of us that is fearful, frightened. Part of us that sometimes doesn't feel up to living our lives. Not good enough. The part of us that desperately wants to be loved, to be accepted, to be seen by other people. And we could see this part of us as a small child. Our own inner child. This little frightened, vulnerable part of ourselves that gets upset, that creates all sorts of problems for us, creates anger, upset, tantrums sometimes. And we need to look after this small child. This small child just needs our love, just needs us to give it a hug, give it a cuddle, hold its hand. It might help if we give an image to this inner child. It's been with us a long time. He or she is very familiar to us in many ways. So can we really engage with this small child of ours that gets so upset, that feels so frightened? Can we care for it, reassure it, help it to become more mature? Help it to be happy. So just keeping close to the inner child, keeping him or her close to us, reassuring them. And then bringing to mind or noticing our inner critic, this part of us that is constantly criticizing what we do, this part of us that always seems to be telling us that we could have done better, or that that wasn't good enough. Or why did we do that? So this inner critic can seem like quite a harsh kind of character. But if we really look at this inner critic, it's so frightened. This inner critic is just terrified that we're not going to fit into the world. And it desperately wants us to. It desperately wants to change things so that everything is okay, that everything goes well, everybody is impressed with us, everybody is okay with us, everybody thinks we're great. So this inner critic has his good intentions. This inner critic wants the best for us. Unfortunately, it's just very misguided. Our inner critic is trying to help us, but in the end just creates more upset and dissatisfaction. So can we look after our inner critic as well? This frightened, fearful part of us that desperately wants us to be okay. Can we reassure our inner critic? Let him or her know that it's all okay. We're fine as we are. We just need to keep moving through our path of life, allowing change to happen, recognizing the things that we can change, accepting the things that we can't. Can we soothe our inner critic? And help him or her to see that everything is fine. And in the final stage, we come back to the whole of ourselves, this complex human being that makes us who we are, that makes us so unique in the world. Accepting the things that we can't change, and recognizing the things we can. Can we do that? Can we allow our own best friend, our inner best friend, to support us on our path through life? Helping us change what we can, helping us accept what we can't change. And can we recognize our inner child when he or she just needs to be loved, needs to have attention, needs to be cared for? And can we give our inner child that love and care? And can we also be kind and caring to our inner critic, who means well but is just misguided? Can we reassure this inner critic that it's all right, we are just fine, but just a work in progress, moving along the path of life, changing for the better as we go, but that it takes time. So can we accept the whole of ourselves just as we are right now, with a sense of kindness and love and acceptance? Responding positively when the inner child cries, responding kindly when the inner critic says harsh things to us. Can we be our own best friend, positive and caring, looking after ourselves, and accepting that we are just perfect as we are in our imperfections? I'm going to ring the bell in a moment to bring the meditation to an end. And when I do, just taking your time, being gentle with yourselves, and bringing the meditation to an end. So that's it for this morning. Welcome to Karen, Christine, Michelle, Rachel and Laura, who joined us just after we started. Good to see you all. Yes, I've just got a request for you. I want you to help me and to help York Buddhist group. Some of you already have, so thank you to them who have helped us so far. But we're here, we've got a Buddhist group in York because over the last 2.5 years, lots of people have supported us and given us donations to keep us going. And that's resulted in us being able to open a new Buddhist Centre this autumn in our own premises, which is amazing. But we need to keep this going. And at the moment, we've got an appeal to fit out and decorate our Buddhist Centre, it's going to cost us something like £4,000. And we've got a grant for 2,000, but we need to raise the other £2,000. So can you help us? Just anything you can afford, from a fiver up to £100 or more, if you've got the money. That would be great. We would really appreciate your help and generosity to get this new Buddhist Centre open and up and running, and being there for people, and enabling the York Buddhist group to just help as many people as possible with things like this morning meditation, and actually, when the lockdown's over, other meditations. So where you'll be able to come to the centre, you'll be able to drop in and get what you need from the classes. So please help us if you can. We'd really all appreciate it very much. And there's a link with this video just underneath, or you can go to our website where there's a donate page, and it's yorkbuddhistgroup.com. So yeah, thank you for that. The other thing is that we're meeting this weekend, this Saturday morning, in the museum gardens again at 11:45. So if you'd like to come along, we'd love to see you. We'll be social distancing. Or if you can't, we should be online as well at about just before 11 o'clock. So great. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening to all that. And see you again tomorrow morning at 8. Lots of love to you all. Take care.